Coming up in all angles, Jamaica's future, the millennial generation, youth parliament in Gordon House, politics,
we must help restore political enthusiasm in Jamaican youth.
abortion,
Subject to the legislative determination of when life begins, terminating a pregnancy due to fetal abnormalities is an act of complete hostility and contempt against the laws of his country.
climate change,
The National Youth Parliament puts forward the creation of the Jamaica Climate Smart Endowment Fund.
and violence.
We must implement policies to protect youth and prevent youth violence.
It is the hope of the National Youth Parliament that the proposals made here today in this honorable house will move the movers and shake the shakers of this country.
They're with me in studio.
Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is All Angles. I'm Dion Jackson Miller, and as always, welcome to our viewers on onespotmedia.com. So it's Youth Month, and as you've heard, we have in studio with us this evening members of the Youth Parliament. Earlier this month, they took to Gordon House to address their issues and to make their recommendations. And joining me in studio, the representative for Northwest Manchester, Stephen Palmer, Youth Parliamentarian for St. Andrew Easton, Ruth Ann Bengashe, Youth Parliamentarian for West Central St. Andrew, Dr. Romaria White, and the representative from East Central St. Andrew, Roger Danvers. Thank you all so much for joining us. Let's jump right in the issue of youth in politics. Let me ask Ruth Ann to set us off there. Likely going to be having an election next year. Are young people going to be involved in any significant way?
I think that young people actually will be involved in a significant way. If you look on social media, you can
Twitter you got to, is that really meaningful and substantial involvement?
I think so. I think it's a start. At the very least, that there's a conversation going on, especially given the fact that the Jamaica Labour Party recently on Sunday, they had their conference, and you saw a lot of persons discussing it on Instagram, on Twitter, because on Facebook, there was so much coverage about it. And I think it got persons interested, curious at the very least, and hopefully that will kind of, bring a little spark and get persons to say, all right, let me start taking this election thing serious, because it's so close.
All right, this is a point in every program where I say hands up who is registered to vote. Not bad, 3 out of 4. Only the goodly doctor not on the voters list. Your last chance might be coming up, Doc.
Hey, I know. I'm looking forward to doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's actually on my list.
Well, let me ask you to jump in then in terms of what would make you want to go and register.
Well, I think having been a part of Youth Parliament, I understand more now how important it is for our voice to be heard. And our voice cannot only come in the Youth Parliament, because there's only a small percentage of youth who will ever be in Youth Parliament. And so our voice is best expressed with our vote. That is how we'll be able to, tell a government whether or not we like their policies or whether we dislike their policies. That's the way that we can collectively make a difference.
Yeah. Stephen, what do you think?
Well, honestly, Dion, let's put it this way. Youth are now more informed than ever. We see where the information age has taken us so far, and we now know so much. Like as Dr. White said, Youth Parliament gave us the platform that we needed to learn so much. And so now that we know how exactly to go and do and operate as responsible civilians of this country and citizens of this country, we can now act on that. And one of those things is by voting. That's well, let's just put it this way. That's how we make our mark.
Okay. There are a lot of people, though, Roger, who say they not vote. Black dog and monkey, and they not vote for none of them. What's your thinking on the importance of voting in a context where a lot of people are disillusioned and turned off?
I mean, when we look at the statistics that I think in the last election, 46% of the electorate actually turned out, that's very bad for a democratic country.
because it therefore says that a minority is actually choosing the leaders. So that is dangerous, point blank. It begs for our leaders, for the EOJ, for the relevant bodies to perhaps put to the public the importance of the democratic right of that finger to vote, you know? And so we have to change the language. Why is it important? It's bigger than getting a $2 grand or $5 grand on the day. It is bigger than just jumping a bus and the excitement. It is about who you choose to lead you. It is about what they will do when they get there.
But when you're one of those people and who look at both sides and you don't like either of them, and you're, as I said, you're disillusioned, you're apathetic, and you feel say everybody a thief and corrupt or lazy or whatever, what do you say to young people who aren't interested? Because the four of you sound interested. So how do you get out? How do you persuade the people who aren't so convinced?
Politics is about hope, I believe. And I would want to believe that everyone wants hope. Hope for a better future, hope for a better country, hope for a better lifestyle.
And they would say, yeah man, bring Obama come, but until we have Obama...
You know? And I think it is for the parliamentarian or the whomever to really give us hope. That's what we're looking for, you know? We want better conditions. We want to live, we want to see Vision 2030 now, to put it that way. We want to make Jamaica the place to live, work, and do business today. And so if it is that a parliamentarian can articulately, you know, give us that hope, I see it coming. Well, a black man did it in America, so it can happen here.
Ruth and then Stephen.
Yeah, just to add to what Rajay is saying, I think it's also not just the politician coming to you necessarily and saying, oh, vote for me. And just like he was saying about getting the money, I think more important than that, especially with young persons, I think you need to be on the ground and actually showing us what is it that's taking place, what policies are in place that are probably going to affect us to get us interested in what's happening. It's not just, okay, you come to my yard gate, you give me a pamphlet and say, you know, vote for me, and maybe you have like family ties to a particular party and so you go with them. But actually see what it is that they're doing in your community, you know, even if it's just your school, your church, wherever it is that you are, like what is the actual work that you're doing? Because I used to be one of those people who I wasn't interested, and it's because you actually see persons doing things and you read more about it and you say, okay, this policy is being put in place, or maybe something is happening in the society and you say, okay, you know, you see somebody doing something to actually make a change and better things. And so I think that will help to get persons more interested in the political participation.
Well, yeah, that I agree 100%. And then I'd like to just say that there's a reason why it's not youth voting. That was the discussion about youth political participation. So we're not just saying voting is just the only way of politically participating. There's writing policy papers. They're, you know, making your own stances in terms of getting persons to sign off form and say, you know, this is what we want and this is a referendum that we should bring to Parliament, and on all these other things, these other means through which youth can actually participate, and not just youth, but anybody, whether, you know, the children's parliament, so those little children, up to the persons who are older than Mike Henry. All of these persons, I'm saying that these are the persons that can actually participate in different ways, not just by voting, but other means. And then I'd also say to youth that you need to be the change that you want to see. So if it is that you don't see somebody who you want to vote for, then start doing some work on your own, because you can make that change. And Youth Parliament gave us the opportunity to volunteer in our different communities and in our different constituencies and in our different counties, and they actually made us do certain projects that gave us the ability to feel as if we're actually true parliamentarians, giving back to the people and serving the people, well, voluntarily, but still serving the people.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Romario?
Yeah, I think I have to agree with what is being said here. I just want to point out that, well, in recent memory, last time a country had a lot of persons who said both are the same, they ended up with Donald Trump. Clearly, Hillary Clinton was probably the lesser of two evils, but there was just a lot of persons, especially youth, who actually said, well, you know, the two of them are the same thing. I think a lot of times what happens is that...
I'm not going to ask you to make the analogy in who you're calling Trump.
No, I'm not. No, I would never do that. I would never do that. What I'm saying is that a lot of times, especially youth, we look for the perfect person to come. Somebody who, you know, exposes all of our or beliefs, everything that we believe, they have to believe as well. And if they don't meet that criteria, then we're not going to vote. The thing is, we have to look at both sides and decide which one of these sides actually, has something that I like. You understand? And so, picking the lesser of two evils, and then you use other means to sort of push them in your direction.
At this point in time, would any of you think about actually entering representational politics yourself?
Yes.
I don't.
Absolutely.
No. Stevenson, like he has the money.
No.
Maybe.
Stevenson, ready?
Yes,
Ready.
yes. If I get some good funding.
Okay. What about it makes you say yes so readily?
Let's just say that I think of myself as a philanthropist. I think of myself as giving back to the people, serving the people. And honestly, it just gives me joy to say that, we're doing this in service to others, making a change. And let's just say I wanted to be a doctor once. Dr. White? I wanted to be a doctor once. But then politics and representing people, making that change happen for other persons was another way of, giving back. More so than medicine.
Don't go into politics and become one of those politicians who can't retire because they give away everything. Ruth, what makes you say no so decisively? I'm nearly out of time. So
okay, no, just because I feel like I prefer to work behind the scenes. As Stephen would have said when we did our county project, I really enjoyed that and, just giving back in general. And so I just prefer to be behind the scenes, but not necessarily up front.
You're very much in Parliament, though, in the youth Parliament.
I just don't see that for myself. I just prefer behind the scenes.
All right, no problem. All right, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll shift gear. We'll talk about another of the topics that they were talking about in the Youth Parliament, get their views on that. What are they saying on abortion? So stay tuned, and remember, our hashtag is TVJ. All angles soon come.